This will come back to bite you because in a year's time, you will need people who know how to shift behavior, who know how to create belief in the organization you're becoming, and who know how to drive change. And they will already be gone. Welcome to The CEO in You, the podcast for trailblazers leading real transformation. I'm Melissa Hartman, and around here, we don't just talk strategy. We build the mindset, influence, and momentum to lead change that actually sticks. If you're leading transformation in your organization or you want to, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Right now, what I'm seeing across the board is that organizations are cutting marketing teams in particular. They're treating it like a line item on a spreadsheet, just there goes a whole lot of marketing talent out of the organization. And this is so incredibly short-sighted. I understand why you could look at it and say, okay, AI makes marketing able to scale much more so we can do things faster, etc. Totally understand and get that. The thing that you're missing though is that the same capability that makes someone an excellent marketer is the same capability that will allow them to transform your organization from within. Marketers have some of the most valuable transformation capabilities that are required to lead sustainable transformation that actually shifts the needle, does the thing that we all want it to do, and deliver on the promise. And so when you let go of this marketing talent, you, in many cases, pay it to walk out the door. What you're doing is cutting off your nose to spite your face. This is talent that could help you transform your organization, and you are just letting it go. These are people that know your organization inside out, back to front, and they know how to move people and how to create change. And we're all of our organizations are facing into a future that requires us as leaders to step into and adopt and evolve our organizations. And when we let highly capable, talented people walk out the door because we haven't reimagined another way in which they could help us achieve our goals, then we are really shooting ourselves in the foot. Because here's the thing I think a lot of people mistake about marketers. They think that people in marketing are all about ads or how to write great website copy, things like that. But if we dive into what marketing is actually great at, great marketers understand human psychology and what it takes to get someone to move from not doing something to taking an action. In many cases, it's about getting someone to buy your product or to be more inclined to buy your product or to care about your product, to know whatever it is that you sell. And that's what a marketer's job is, right? Their whole job is about how do we encourage people to change, to move from the status quo of where they are today. And doing that requires insight into human psychology and behavior change, and requires people to go from this idea of, being totally unaware to being aware of your business or your product suite, to thinking about it and then taking action, buying it, doing the thing that you want them to do. That's the whole job of marketing. And so you've got these people in there, that is their capability set. They're also often very capable and experienced and talented at creating a strategic narrative and making it so that the whole story flows together beautifully and making it make sense, because that's what we ask them to do. And some of the most challenging transformations I've worked on in the 20 years that I've been working in transformation are ones that didn't have a compelling narrative or a compelling story or a compelling hook. They're all marketing capabilities. But if we miss those elements in a transformation, we're really setting ourselves up to be irrelevant more than anything. Like, why would anyone care? And that's the whole challenge that marketing is leaning into, and marketing is always into, is why would anyone care about this thing? Marketers know how to create campaigns that shift behavior, not just about selling, but actually about creating a behavior change. And they know that to do that, they need to work internally, not just with the marketing crew, but also with the sales team, if you've got one, with your product team, with your tech team, to be able to bring this thing actually to life. So they're working cross-functionally across your organization to create behavior change in people that you want to do a thing. And I think you can start to see here what I'm talking about, right? These are critical skills in transformation, and they are so incredibly powerful. And I don't understand how letting all of your marketing capability and talent walk out the door is setting yourself up for failure. These skill sets are so incredibly valuable, and yet you're sending them away just because someone hasn't thought about, hey, how could we apply them elsewhere? Because when we look more broadly at our organizations these days, we are looking at a time of tremendous change. If you're listening to this, this is not something that's going to be new to you, but if we look at the transformations that our organizations are undergoing from AI and all of the other technologies, both around AI and separate to AI, there is an enormous amount of tech change that we are undergoing at the moment in organizations. Before we even start to consider the changes in our workforce makeup, with so many baby boomers coming towards the point where they're looking at either retiring or working differently. We've also got geopolitical changes and differences in that realm that are making our organizations need to adapt and transform faster than they have in many cases ever before. And so the capability that we need is people that can work within that, people that are adaptable and can rise to the challenge of creating the organization that we want to be for tomorrow and all the days after tomorrow. And what so many people forget about marketing, or maybe they just don't realize it. It could be that they don't realize it. And if so, okay. But 10 years ago, I was working in marketing and I was refreshing the website for my company at the time. And this is a multi-billion dollar company. And I had to fight tooth and nail to try and get $50,000 to get website tracking placed across the website so that we could see customer behavior and track it across the website. At the time, it was things like cookies and attribution across the website, but it's evolved obviously since then. But at that point, only 10 years ago, that was a battle that I was having. And I lost that battle. I was very annoyed. We found out another way to find the budget and do it a different way. But only 10 years ago, spending money on tracking behavior across your website was something that marketers were fighting for. And what they did spend the money on at that time, but I lost the battle about investing in tracking on the website. What they did do at the time was instead spend money on investing in advertising in the Yellow Pages directory. That is not a joke. And so when I think about marketers that have been in the game for a little while, 10 years ago, they were fighting battles to be able to invest in future ready assets for an organization. Their space has changed more than most spaces. You'd be hard pressed to find many spaces that have evolved much more than marketing. I would say technology's in there as well, but definitely marketing would be in the front runners of the spaces in our organization that have evolved most dramatically in recent times. And so the people that are in there know how to adapt, they know how to change, they know how to evolve with the time as it happens. And so if leaders are still out there thinking that marketing is all about writing ad copy or writing a bit of website copy, then they're really missing the point about what strategic marketers are doing. Yes, at this point, it's probably appropriate to say not all marketers are going to have this kind of capability that I'm talking about, But marketing has undergone so much change that if you're still hanging around in marketing and you're still able to make it work, then you are adaptable and you are a problem solver because you have had to be able to play the game for this long successfully. So if you are a marketing leader at the moment, or you have a marketing skill set, however you identify yourself, maybe you identify as a marketer, maybe you just have that skill set as well, and you are navigating this turmoil, what I would say to you is that your role may be redundant. If you are a marketer and you are navigating these stormy seas, what I would say is that the skills and the capabilities that you have and built over all these years are highly relevant in other areas than marketing as well. And if that's something that you're interested in, then I invite you to have a look at business transformation and contemplate how the skills and capabilities that you've got might apply in this space as well. If you'd like me to talk more about that, then please let me know in the comments and I can certainly do so because I recognize that most people have not caught up with this yet, have not caught up with this realization that marketing is a deep pool of talent for the kind of work that we do in transformation. And if you are a leader working in transformation, I would invite you to contemplate how you are bringing this capability and skill set into your team, how you are building these tools and learning these skills yourself, and also how you are partnering across your business to embed storytelling and the psychology of change and deep understanding of the audience that you're working with to the way that you are transforming your business. This is the kind of work that I've been doing for nearly 20 years now, and I have seen firsthand what happens when you don't bring in these skills. I mentioned earlier some of the most challenged and failed transformations are those that didn't have a good hook. They didn't have a compelling narrative. No one had asked the question of why they would care. And you can do transformation without those things, but then you need to rely on this command and control style of approach. And at a certain point, the people that have capabilities and skills that are highly valuable will make a choice about whether or not to stay in this space, whether or not to stay working with your company. And so that's something that you can choose to live with if you want to. But practically, the kinds of people that I want in my organization are those people that are adaptable. They're able to respond to change. They're able to be forward thinking and help both see what's happening in the future and then help create it alongside me. I don't want that to all fall on one leader. I don't want that to fall singularly on any one leader in an organization. It's way too risky. And so if we have more leaders in our organizations and more individuals in our organizations that are there because they want to be, they're there because they believe in what it is that we're creating, and they're there to help build that. We are setting our organizations up for success, not just in this transformation, but in the next one and the next one and the next one, because those are the kinds of people that can bring that future to life, to make it real, and then to see what the next horizon holds and create that. If you are a leader who is navigating this realm of transformation and are trying to build capabilities and the skills to lead it and to lead it in a way that is sustainable, both for you and the organization. This is the work we're doing in the Transformation Leadership Academy Mastermind. And in the mastermind, we're not just doing this at a tactics level, like a bit here and a bit there. We're really focused on the systems and the identity level of what it takes to be the kind of leader that can hold this kind of change, that can deliver this kind of change and have it be sustainable. We're applying the psychology of marketing. We're looking at the storytelling of change, how we think about systems rather than the nodes within it, and creating the leadership structure required to lead transformation that is successful. So if you have been listening to this and thinking that this is the kind of work that you need to do next, then the mastermind might be the next move for you. We don't have our doors open at the moment. We are going to be opening them again in November to welcome people in starting in January. So, if this is something that resonates with you, if you'd like to be a part of this conversation and be surrounded by exceptional transformation leaders leading change around the world, then make sure you're on our wait list so that you can be the first to hear about the mastermind when it opens. Our website is tlamastermind.com and you can join the waitlist there, and then we'll be in touch very soon to let you know how you can apply to join this extraordinary mastermind, which is helping transformation leaders around the world to lead transformation. The mastermind is a space where we support transformation leaders to lead transformation in their organization with clarity, influence, and momentum, and to do it all without burning themselves out, which we know is a huge risk for those of us who lead in this space. So if that is something that is interesting to you or that you think is the right space for you to look into, tlamastermind.com, and you can join the waitlist there. Until then, you can subscribe to the podcast and share this with someone who really needs to hear this conversation. It has been such a pleasure to talk about this with you today, given it is just not a conversation that's happening anywhere, and it is setting up so many organizations to fail. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and if there's any areas in here you'd love me to dive into more deeply in another episode. Until next time, I'll see you then. If this sparks something in you, share it with someone else in the arena, and make sure you're subscribed to the CEO in You podcast. And if you're ready to lead with more clarity, confidence, and impact, check out the Transformation Leadership Academy Mastermind. You don't have to lead this work alone.